Hey, people, good people out there in the land. Welcome to the conversation, Outspoken and Opinionated. You guys know it is quarantine. We are still in quarantine, but you already know because guess what I did? I went ahead and took my first vaccine. So I feel like a brand new man. I feel like now I can go party. Don't know yet. But welcome to the conversation, Outspoken and Opinionated. My name is Edwin Maya. It's good to be back. We've been on a little hiatus for a couple of weeks, with the whole working and then the internet work. It was a lot. But we're back today and we're starting, of course, like I told you guys, we've been advertising the entire week with Vannice McCoy. We're going to talk about career because what I've noticed is there are a lot of people getting jobs when there's quarantine time. And I'm like, okay, so what's going on? If some people can get jobs and other people are trying to get jobs, why don't we get the expert? Why don't we get the person who know how to help you to get that job? And so I ain't going to waste no time. I'm just going to jump in because I know you guys are watching. And we're going to bring in Miss Vannice in here. So welcome.
Hey, EJ. Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome to the conversation, Outspoken and Opinionated. We are glad that you accepted our invitation. You are here. So what you been doing this quarantine? How you been?
I've been pretty good. I've been pretty good during this quarantine. It's up and down with everything going on in the social media. But, I think my outlet has been just getting outside. Getting outside, going to the creek, taking those walks in the morning, during breaks, and then after work. That has been like my outlet.
That's good because I think I follow you, so I think I've seen some stuff you are posting on social media where you would be like in the woods or something next to the stream and do a video. I'm like, man, I wish I could do that, but I'm so scared. I don't want to go outside. I didn't want to go outside, and then my son, he don't do nature, so he'd be like,
Oh, nobody will be out there really when I go. It's just like it's so peaceful. It is so peaceful.
But it's good to have you again. Like I said, we're going to talk about career. I know you, the career coach, you, the career mogul, you, the if and but about careers. You can take us to the new job. We kind of make that 6-figure. So we're ready today. And I am just going to go straight in because just tell us who you are, about your business, and all that good stuff.
Okay, cool. Again, thanks for having me. My name is Vannice McCoy, and I'm the CEO of Vannice Consults. And for us, our mission is career alignment. So for me, it's not just to go ahead and get that 6-figure resume or just to make sure we have all these things like, oh, it's paying me this much or I got these particular like benefits and all that. My whole concern is, does this align with who it is that you are and who it is that you are becoming? And, for that particular reason, it's like people can go ahead and get that bomb resume. You get that bomb resume and you then left this job that you didn't like. And now you over here in another one 3 months after that honeymoon phase is over with, 3 months, and you ticked off. And it's like, what the heck? But you just wasted all that money on that resume. And so, I've gone through that. I've experienced that, myself before. And it's like, you have to just take time to sit back and get to know who you are and figure out what it is that you really want before you call yourself just jumping ship.
Okay, good. So we like to research our guests. We like to know about them so we don't come a little crazy. But when me and the team was looking at it, we realized that, you really focus on women. Everything was about and women gonna get a job and how to help women. And so I just want to know, is there something in there for guys? Is there something in there for us?
It is. I mean, guys can benefit from it too, but I've been noticing that women have been gravitating to me. I do have men followers and everything, and sometimes I will get men in the DMs that'll ask questions as well. Thank you so much. But no, I don't discriminate. I can help men as well.
Okay. So let's just go into it. So what I have noticed, with social media and everything happening, we've all stayed home for a year and a year plus, and there is this new branding. I feel that the fact that people can get on Zoom and people can work from home or remote work and all this kind of stuff that some companies were focusing in. I just want, how is this new branding going to be? How can people really sell themselves with this new infrastructure that now they have that I can work from home?
Mm-hmm. So how do they make like that shift to go ahead and work? I mean, so far as looking for, I'm making sure I'm understanding like your question. So far as how do I obtain a position that has this particular like working from home, or how do I rebrand myself? Period.
How do I rebrand myself, period, into this new working from home?
Oh, I got you. I got you. You have to be open minded, is what I felt like. You have to be completely open minded. You have to have boundaries to be able to, because it's like you don't have that supervisor that's standing over your, shoulders and stuff like that. And so if you do get a position that's showing that's going to, where you are going to work from home, you have to show that you are, a self starter. You got to show that, hey, I'm diligent and I'm going to go ahead and get these particular projects or whatever it is that they have assigned to you. Make sure that you're getting those done on time. And so if you can be able to show that, hey, I'm doing these things at work already, or I was doing these pre-COVID, prior to COVID, instead of someone always having to come and ask me, hey, where's this assignment? Where is this assignment? You're past due date. We're past the due date, and so you just have to be able to highlight those key points of factors that are definitely more attractive to the employers that are looking for people that can work from home.
So that leads us right into the next question. I'm just going to go straight into resume. So what are the pointers that people can gain right now to gain attraction on the resume?
So in regards to the resume, one, you need to make sure that it is like neat and succinct. But overall, I say with the resume is you have to make sure that you're speaking the employer's language. And with that, I'm pretty sure you read the book 5 Love Languages.
Yes.
Okay, so this is where I get it from. So in 5 Love Languages, you have someone and they're saying, okay, and you have this significant other spouse, and you think that you're loving them right, and it's like I'm giving you gifts, and it's like that person is not receiving that as love, so to speak, because their love language is quality time. It's like, I don't give a dang about these daggone gifts. And so, and so with that, you have to take that same mindset that he was speaking about. I want to say the author was Gary Chapman. You have to take that same mindset and look to see what it is that what they're looking for and speak within their language. And so, what I say to do is one thing that I have like some of my clients do is if you have to make sure that that this is the particular job that you want. Don't just be out here I'm about to apply for IT specialist, and then I'm about to apply for this construction, and then I'm about to apply for administration, and for that reason your resume is like all over the place, and so you have to take about maybe like 5, you could do 10. Sometimes I say 10 is better. Take about 5 if find out what it is that you want to do. And let's say that you are interested in one particular aspect of like IT. And so if this is this IT specialist, let's go ahead and look at some other particular job announcements that is speaking about this field of IT or whatever as well. And so with that, you're going to review that and see, oh, okay, so I'm seeing that out of these 10 particular jobs, they keep on asking for, this is the number 1 thing that I asked for. This is the number 2 thing that they asked for. And so for that, you finding out the things that they are most interested in commonly. And so therefore you don't have to constantly switch and change your resume up each time that you are applying, because my resume is already speaking the language of the prospective employers. And so I say that, and I say keep it short. Keep it short. 1 to 2 pages should be ideal. And making sure that you also are having it, like I said, you're speaking in a language, but making sure that it is readable. Like, don't be sitting up here changing stuff all the time. Like, making sure that you have, the things that are highlighted, make sure that you have like the education that's highlighted, making sure that you have the job tasks that you're speaking about. You have to speak to them in ways that is showing that you're solving a problem.
Okay, and so since you were talking about that, I just want to go. Are we still doing the career objective thing on the resume?
Mm-hmm. You can, but You don't really have to. You can put it there, but I look at it as kind of sort of like a space. It's taking up too much space, to be honest with you,
Okay.
because if you're applying, we know that the objective is, I know that you're applying for this job because you want to do an IT specialist position. And so for that reason, there's no real point um for you to reiterate that to me. You can do a statement at the top to where it's a summary of your highlights, so to speak. I'll go ahead and I'll have them replace the objective with that. That way it's more eye catching, and it's some of the things, some of the highlights, some of your top 3 things like stands out to them, but not the objectives.
Okay, so there's another thing that's also happened. So now you have people who have the education, then you have people who also have the experience. So when it comes to education and experience, which one is important and when is it important?
Which one is important? They're both important, but it depends on that job announcement that you're looking for. There's a job announcement. It's not a catch all. If the job announcement is speaking highly about, hey, we highly prefer, we would highly like a candidate to have this education, then yeah, then that is very, very important. You make sure that you have that listed on there if you have that particular reputable education. But a lot of times, honestly, experience, because you can have that degree, and it's like, but because for me, depending on what type of the degree it is, a lot of times when you think about it, whenever you went to school, did you really learn how to do that particular job while you were in school?
No.
A lot of times that's not the case. And so what school is most of the time is knowledge, and the experience shows, displays on your resume that, hey, I actually can apply the knowledge that I have obtained. And so I would definitely say that, yeah, they're both important, but the experience is a lot more important, and making sure that you are communicating the experience there on your resume.
Okay, so I want to go into the interview segment because I think a lot of times, a lot of people, I would say I have an interview in the last 7 years.
Uh-huh.
I've been at the same position. And so now with this whole quarantine and everything's happening, people are trying to change career, or they realize that, okay, I'm probably need more money, so I need to update my skills. So what's the best preparation when it comes to preparing for an interview?
The best preparation is mock interviewing. Mock interviewing. You can always Google some lovely interview questions, and have one of your friends go ahead and ask you those questions. A lot of people don't like to have, quote unquote, pre-written answers to some of those statements, but to me it's very important to go ahead and have those. So what I do is I have my clients go ahead and I'll have the questions that I have prepared for them, and I have them go ahead and write out what they think would be good to say, and then I ask them certain questions on the spot. They don't know what questions it is that I'm going to ask them, but I ask them those particular questions on the spot so they can get comfortable with communicating what it is that they have already written down. These are just ideas, because it's just in case they ask something, it's okay, oh, I can use this here, or I can use that there. And so having that's very important. Another thing that I do with mock interviews is I will actually practice my interviews in front of the mirror. People might think that it's crazy, in front of the mirror. And I mean, use your phone, take that phone and record yourself to see what it was that you look like, because you need to be aware of a lot of your different type of mannerisms that you actually are displaying. That could be a turn off, or it could be very, very helpful. And so I would say that's very ideal. You also need to make sure that you have a set of questions during the interview as well. And so they say about 3, but I say have 5 to 6, maybe different ones, because when you're in the midst of having that particular, that interview, what they're going to do is sometimes they might be answering some of those questions while you're already in the room, before it gets to your point, before it gets to your turn to be able to ask those questions. And so then when they ask you, hey, do you have anything that you'd like to ask us? And then you sitting there like a dump on the log, and you ain't got, you ain't got nothing to contribute, And so it's good to show that you have questions because it shows that you're actually interested. And not just to have like those questions, you need to make sure that you are reviewing their website and seeing, hey, is there anything like that came up like in the news, about them as well. Making sure that the questions are very, very relevant, not just basic, because it could be a question to where you could probably offer um some type of like insight or a recommendation, so to speak, to show, hey, I've been researching you, and these are the things that I've seen, and this is what I feel like how I could be able to come and be a part of your team, and solve problems with you guys. So those are the things that are very, very important for interview. Oh, and another thing, take a pen and take a pencil, the paper, the notepad, and write and have everything, so the way you can write things down. Making sure that you're writing, so it shows that you're attentive.
Yeah.
During the interview, and it's showing that okay, a lot of times, sometimes you might have to go ahead and write down that question. Oh, well, can you reword that? If they don't, just answer the question. If you don't understand what the question is, tell them you don't understand what the question, in the way of, hey, can you rephrase it? I think that this is what I heard. Can am I correct there, or can you give me a better way? I want to make sure that I answer your question accordingly.
Okay, so still on interview, I've had people ask these questions. So, they feel that if they're going to a corporate interview, they need to dress corporately. If they're going to, let's say, for example, you're going to Target, you can wear slacks and a polo shirt. Or if you're going to a restaurant for a server job, you can dress, business casual. So I just want to get your feel. Is there different kinds of dress code when it comes to an interview?
For me, I've always gone ahead and I'm not going to dress casually. Like, period, for an interview. You're trying to show them, because what it is you're doing is you're representing that company. And so you have to show them, hey, I'm willing to put my best foot forward. And let me go ahead. I honestly wouldn't do a polo. I honestly wouldn't necessarily do, business casual either. I would go ahead and not necessarily say that you have to have on a tie, or that you have to have on a blazer, so to speak. But I would definitely say like a button down, like a shirt that you have on right now, as well as like some slacks or like a skirt. Or a dress that's definitely long enough and stuff like that. Yeah, you don't want to go up in there with no little short mini skirt for no interview.
Okay, so as I just want to pull this in, because as the world is changing, and there are a lot of things is being accepted, and people are trying to run away from lawsuit. We have issues where I remember when I started interview graduating from college. When I was in college, my 4 years in college, I had an afro. I didn't cut my hair.
Right.
But when I graduated, I was so, you need to get your hair cut, because if you're going to start going to interviews, you need to look neat. So now, with everything going on, women, African American women are using the natural hair. The Caucasian women will have color in their hair and color streaks. So does it take away from the appearance of an interview?
You know what? That is a very touchy subject. And I'm glad that you asked it, because I have struggled with that, in my past, to be honest with you. It was very interesting. You had made the statement that you wanted to keep it neat.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, who told us as, Africans, as African Americans, that an afro is not neat? And so it is neat. Like, this is the way that, the way that your hair grows out of your scalp. Unfortunately, in spite of the world evolving and us moving forward, unfortunately, you still do have some employers that are really that are discriminatory. And so the person, and so neat is subjective with that. And I would just say that the person has to really, that's up to them on what it is that they want to do. A lot of times I'll go on an interview with like some braids, I wear like my natural hair. So far as sometimes I think I've done like my afro before. Honestly, I like to see who it is that I'm going to be working with, because a lot of times what happens is we contribute. I'm not saying that we start with the whole discrimination and everything, but we contribute to it in the sense that, okay, let me go ahead and go get this weave. And then when I go ahead and I wear my natural hair and they are like shocked, and it's like, who is this person? Now they ask all these questions. It's like, well, you kind of sort of gave them a different image of who it is that you are, and so I kind of like to see who it is that it's hard, because you want the position, but at the same time, I want to be in a position that accepts me in my original beauty for who it is that I am. Not I'm more than this display, this physical, display. I can contribute whether my hair is in an afro or whether my hair is straight, but I don't want you making a decision on me getting the position just because of that. But again, that depends on the person. Do they feel like that they rather go ahead and change their hair just for the sake of this interview? I don't really too much advise against it or for it, so to speak. It's that one is definitely up to that particular person. You got to research that particular employer and see, okay, what do they stand by? Do they seem to be like a particular like racist employer? Have they had different complaints and stuff like that in the past? I probably don't want to work for them anyway.
Okay, cool. Another question, just looking at interview, and so you have people, where they have tattoos and stuff like that, and there are employers where, they're a little bit skeptical about tattoos and piercing and all that kind of stuff. And I know back then, when we were looking for jobs, you were told, again, take your piercing out and cover your tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
But now that if I am bringing my authentic self to this employer and I'm telling you who I am, is it okay for me to wear my multiple earrings and show my tattoos?
Show my tattoos. It would depend on, for that one, I would say it depends on the industry, that you're going ahead. You have to make sure that you are researching where it is that you're going. And if this is something that it seems like that they're quote unquote like okay with that, then and this is who it is that you want to make sure that you're being on the job on a regular basis, just like with the hair, then by all means you can go ahead and you can display those. What do the tattoos say? Let me go ahead and say that too. Like that's one thing. People be mad about them saying some different stuff with the tattoos, but what do the tattoos say? Like what are they saying? Does it have a lot of vulgar expressions that are there that's being displayed? If that's the case, then I probably would go ahead and not have those, because I will go ahead and cover up. It's subjective, but it's also subjective in the sense on what is it? What does the tattoo state? What is it? What is the purpose behind the tattoo?
Okay, so I have one question. I just want to go back to interview. Where we talked about, asking questions. When is a good time to ask that really, really uncomfortable question, the money question?
The money question?
Yeah.
The money question, I would say it. So one, you would need to know, okay, are there 2 or 3 different like interviews that's going on? For it. I wouldn't necessarily probably ask too much like at the beginning on the first interview. Because it's like, oh, this person, kind of sort of just wants that. And now some people would advise to, hey, go ahead and ask it on the first interview, because you don't want to be sitting up here wasting your time interviewing and it's paying boo money, and so you just wasted your time. And I honestly don't feel like it's a waste of time. I feel like you're getting practice. You're getting practice on your interviewing skills is what I feel like, And so I would say when they call you back for that second interview,
okay,
you can go ahead and you can ask them. I was wondering, hey, what are the salary? What is the salary range for this particular, like for this particular position, and what are they? What are the promotions? Is this position promotional as well?
So there are times where on the announcement they will tell you and send in your salary expectation.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you say? Do you go to the glass door and find out what's the salary range for that job? Like, what do you say? Like, what is it a range? You give them a number.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do definitely look at Glassdoor for those particular types of to see. Well, okay, it pays this much here, it pays this much, and so going ahead and doing that and dividing it. Also, you got to think about how many years of experience that you're bringing to the particular position. Um, don't start off too low because more than likely they're gonna cut you off anyway. You know what I'm saying? You got to make sure that you're gonna go ahead and start off like a lot higher. Because just in case they do, because you have to be ready for the negotiation that they're going to possibly provide a counter offer that's going to be lower than what it is. So I would honestly add in about $5,000 or maybe $10,000 more than what it is that you really want.
And so, since you brought up the word, I'm just going to bring it up. So, negotiation.
Mm-hmm.
Statistics has proven that women are horrible negotiators when it comes to salary negotiation. I consider myself to be really savvy when it comes to that. I think in every company I've worked, I've realized that people of my peers, I always make more than them because
Wow.
I tend to push a little bit to get what I want. So, when it comes to females, you being a woman, you running your company and really focus on helping women. What is the negotiation? What kind of tricks do you have for a woman to really negotiate to get the fair salary?
Well, first of all, you have to. A lot of times, women won't even ask. That's why we have the whole thing of that we're horrible negotiators. A lot of women just go ahead and take what it is that's being presented to her. And so, just like how you're practicing that, just like how you're practicing the interviews on those mock interviews, you need to make sure that you're also practicing asking for money, asking for what the money is going to be. And so, you have to. One thing is you have to be able to show write out like your top three things on what it is that you can provide. And so it's like, hey, well, I'm coming to the table and I have, 10 years of experience doing this, and I can see this is what it is that you want. That you have advertised, during the interview. I noticed that you had mentioned that these are the things that you want, and well, I have experience in this, and this is how I was able to solve this particular problem before. And so for that particular reason, I would like to ask for ABC XYZ money. And so it's like whenever you're asking for it, ask for it, but showing some of your cards.
Another question that I have for you is,
Mm-hmm.
when you're in an interview and they ask you to tell them something, I don't want to use the word negative, but it says something that is not, that is not positive about yourself and how you overcame that. And so what I've seen, because I've been in a lot of interviews, if people come and they say something positive, that is like, oh, I tend to really stay over and do my job. And so, it's like, oh, it's kind of positive, but it's kind of negative because, I would stay at work a lot of times. So what is it like, you as a consultant, you who a career coach, what do you tell your clients? Like, what do you say when you've been asked that question?
It is, you do have to put that little spin on it. It can't be just ridiculously, just like negative. One of the things that,
So what are your weaknesses and how did you
yeah,
overcome that?
exactly. Yeah, that one. So, one of the things, that you can say is that, yeah, you go ahead and you bring up some particular type of like negative thing, but you always have to make sure that you're displaying to them that I am working toward to getting better at this particular thing. So let's say that, I used to not speak up, in meetings. I used to always sit there and everyone always wondered what it was that what I was, wondering about or whatever.
Yeah.
And so for that, what it is that you tell them is, because this used to be me, so this is like a real one. And so I would also highlight to them, however, I did take this training called Crucial Conversations, and I've read the particular book. And so that has actually been contributed to me, to the improvements. I've started to speak up a little bit more, and I'm going to continue to work towards improving that. So that is one of the weaknesses that I have, but that I'm making sure that I'm working towards getting better. You can still highlight it, but highlight it in the sense that the positive in mine is that I'm working towards solving or getting better, or pushing away this particular weakness, not just a flat out positive.
Yeah, and so it's crazy because I'm sitting there and I'm just like, sometimes I think it's like you just basically just BSing us. Like that doesn't even
exactly. It can't, and they know that. It's like everybody has weaknesses.
Yeah, everybody can give me a weakness that that can be measured, that you were able to overcome in time. Like it's just it'd be weird, and I just don't understand how they do it because it just makes no sense.
Yeah.
But moving into the next segment, I want us to really look at networking strategies.
Okay.
How to overcome the fear, like things that people say, I don't do small talk.
How do they overcome the fear?
How do they overcome that fear of I don't do small talk? And you need to network if you're looking for a job and branding yourself.
I'm gonna just say Nike, just do it. And when I say for real, when I say just do it, network in an area to where do practice in the sense, let's say, let's see here, happy hour. Happy hour can be like a networking place as well. And so if this is something that if networking, or if happy hour is something where you feel natural there, and you feel like calm, like relaxed and everything, that's a place where you can do it. A lot of times people thinking of like networking is just this job networking event. Networking can be done anywhere, and so you have to practice there somewhere where you're already comfortable at, and then transfer that practice to an actual networking for particular jobs. And so with that, you need to make sure that your resume is ready for the particular jobs it is that you're looking for. Making sure that you have like a nice one-liner. Hey, just Vannice McCoy, career consultant. Just something short and quick, like what your title is, or more so what it is that you're looking for.
Okay.
And I would say do those. I would say also ask questions. What is that book? A book that I would recommend is How to Win Friends. I want to say by Dale Carnegie. A lot of times people like to hear themselves speak. Okay. And so when you're networking and you're looking for a particular job, you go ahead and you have that, you have the things it is that you're going to say, so far as what your name is, what it is that you do, having just like a quick short story on who it is that you are, but you have to be willing to ask questions. And so you're asking them questions and you're drawing them in, and they like, you know what, that EJ show was cool, but the EJ is cool because I got to hear myself talk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, don't overpower the conversation. Making sure that it's well balanced, and that you're asking them, and that you're not just that you're not just seeing them as a doorway, just for a particular job. You have to be genuine.
Okay. So when is it okay for someone to change career or to change industry?
When you find out that this is not what it is that you want. I don't think that there's a certain time frame, with that. I would say you probably want to do it before you get too daggone frustrated, A lot of times what I tell people to do is you need to choose a career that aligns with your shoes. And so with that particular statement, it's basically just making sure that you're finding out who it is that you are first. And so I feel like after you find out who it is that you are in regards to like those shoes, I'll spell it out for you. Like the first S is for its significance, and that's to choose your values. Know what it is, what values it is that you have. A lot of times people get into a particular position or a particular like employee, and a lot of times there's friction or more so misalignment, and it isn't that one party is better than the other. It's just that we're clashing, we're bumping heads because hey, my values are here, but this particular other person's or employer's values like are there. And so after you go ahead and you figure out, oh, we got some misalignment going on here. Well, you need to make sure that you go ahead and you and you're seeking another position. When you're finding out, hey, what it is that you're handy with, that's the H in there. And the handiness is just making sure that you're respecting your gifts. A lot of times people are tired and exhausted and drained because they're not using their natural gifts, their aptitudes. And with that is something that comes naturally easy to you that is that requires less time, less energy, and less effort. And so we're tired and we're drained because we're using so much energy. We're working against the grain, and you have to make sure that you're using your God-given gifts. That it is that you have to make sure that you're honoring those. The next one, objectives, making sure that you are establishing your goals and that you establish your goals and that you're honoring the goals. And so does this particular employer help me with meeting these particular goals that I've set out for myself? If not, then yeah, it's time to go ahead and jump ship. It's time to go ahead and find someone that can help me meet these goals, whether it be short-term, mid-term, or long-term goals. And the next E is, or the first E, I should say, within that is going to be excitement. Does this particular position that I have, does it feed my passion? A lot of times people think, like the old school is like, you're just supposed to just get a job. Like, no, you need to be interested in this particular position as well. Because if you're not interested, it's definitely going to affect the work it is that you're displaying, and it's going to affect your evaluation as well. The next E is actually to make sure that you're using your expertise. It's expertise. And so does this job employ your skills, or does this job that or does it employ the skills that you are, that you would like to obtain?
Okay.
And so if it's not, that's another reason why you need to go ahead and you need to jump ship. And the last one that I have is S, is style. And so does this job honor the personality? And when I say personality, EJ, you're more like, okay, so you're a host, so I'm just gonna guess and say you might possibly be extroverted, a little bit more extroverted.
Extrovert.
Okay. So imagine you being on the job, you're extroverted, and they have you in the office all by yourself. You have no meetings. Does that job honor your personality?
Lord, no. That's why I do not like working from home. I hate it.
I know, I understand. So for you have to make sure that you are making sure that you are attending those Zoom meetings that you had, and you have to make sure that you are, getting your chance to speak and contribute to those particular ones. And so, and so with that, you've probably an external processor as well. And so you're thinking when you're speaking, you're thinking, what I'm saying, or when you're thinking, you're speaking. And so that's how you're coming to your conclusion. Not necessarily the first thing that comes out of your mouth is what it is, your last point, but I have to make sure you're making sure that you're just, hey, this is how I'm solving like the problems. Now, I would say that all of those things, that's why I say choose a job that aligns with your shoes. All of those are the things that's needed, because it can't just be one. One out of that is 1 out of 6. That's a horrible percentage. And a lot of times we focus on just one thing. We focus on just that skill. We focus on just that I'm interested in, or just because I got a homie that works over there. It's so much more. It's so much more than that. And so if you're off with those, and I know that it might be difficult to kind of sort of meet one, but or not meet one, but meet them all, so to speak, at one particular job. But it better be close to that four or five out of six, because it's, you can work towards it. You can get one, like if you're at a 0 out of 6, work towards getting one that's towards a 2 or 3 out of 6, and just keep on progressing until you have your quote unquote the perfect job for you. There's no quote unquote perfect job, but there's a perfect job for that you can find for yourself.
And I like that you say that when you talk about the perfect job for you, because I think over the years, what I've seen is there are a lot of people who are chasing money and they don't find a career. They don't find a career. They're chasing money. And so what I've noticed is that after 2 to 3 years, they're burned out and they're looking for more money. So they jump to another job. And so if you can just speak on that and just give us some understanding of, yes, we want money. Yes, we want to pay our bills, but you also need to understand that it's your career. You're not going to get happy for people who get out of college and make at least $65K. I'm like so happy for them.
Right? Congratulations.
But some of us started some places that it couldn't even pay for car note.
Right? That wasn't my story either. Like
I started, a little bit.
I started lower than that, much lower than that.
No, I made it up, and now I'm like, I'm fine. Yeah. I ain't making all the money in the world, but my career is my career. It's the right fit for me. So how can you educate people on the chasing money stuff?
I would probably speak to them about what is it about the money, because it seems like they're more so chasing like a lifestyle. You're keeping up with the Joneses, and the Joneses was broke, right?
Yeah.
And so with that, they need to find out. I think one way to stop that is to find out what really causes them to be fulfilled. Because money fades, and so the whole thing that I was just highlighting, like on the whole shoes, they need to figure out what it is that they need to figure out their set of shoes. Because you can be making a lot of money at some particular position and ridiculously like unfulfilled, and you making it seem like you happy and all this, but it's I would say definitely tell people to be careful from doing that, because you have people that are making this money, but then they have like all of these particular like health concerns, it can cause frictions, within the marriage, but hey, but I got the money, you know what I'm saying? Or not just within marriage, just also within your other, within your friendships, and so you have to really think about this and say, okay, what is it that is really important to me? What is it? Is it this money? You have to point this out. Okay, so if I'm choosing this money, does that how is this money that it is that I have? How is that affect all of the other different relationships, and as well as with myself, as well as the people that I have around me? How does that positively impact it, or does it negatively impact it? And so we go through different talks, around that. And if the person still wants to go ahead and choose that money, then you go ahead and choose that money yourself. But you ain't going to say that I recommended you to go ahead and continue to choose that money. It's everybody's, prerogative. I can provide like the coaching, I can provide the consultation. But if someone does not want to take that particular advice and they want to go ahead and then, hey, then I'll go ahead and that, like I said, that's the prerogative. That's what they want to do. But I would definitely say they need to find out what it is that's truly fulfilling to them, so the way they can get out of that, the rat race.
So I like that. I really enjoy that, because I think, I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and I was just like, I'm comfortable. I'm okay. And I love my job. I love my job. I love what I do. I really appreciate, the compliments from the trainees. I like what we do. I enjoy it. I love education. basically.
Mm-hmm.
So anything with medical education, I go for it. But I want to go to I just want to give a twist on it. I always have it. I got to bring a little twist.
I know you got the twist, EJ.
I have a little twist. You know, they have these ideas of people when they are looking for a job. They have an issue when it comes to their names. You know, they have this names thing where it's like, for example, with Vannice McCoy. Vannice McCoy could be a white woman. And so when people are doing their resume, their names is an issue for them. It's like, like I've seen people like, put initials and just the last name. And then when it comes to the interview, you say, oh, H. And say, oh, no, the H stands for this. And I'm just like, why didn't you just put your full name? But then I have read over time is because people feel that their names sell them out when it comes to different stereotypes.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have any thing on that? Yeah.
So for me, I've worked more in the federal sector, and so you're forced to go ahead and use your real name.
All your names.
Yeah, it's that full government name is there. Again, just like we spoke about earlier with the hair, do you want somebody that's gonna go ahead and just discriminate? You know what I'm saying? Discriminate against you. You're kind of you can kind of set yourself up for a little bit of the failure. The only way that I feel like someone probably should not use their name is depending on the name that they mom. This is a true story, okay? They graduated these particular guys. They graduated before I did at the high school that I went to, but their mom had actually named him. I want to say it was crack and cocaine or crack and marijuana. Like that was their for real like government name, and so that would be the only way. What I would probably say, possibly someone using like an initial or something like that, because that one can kind of sort of, it shouldn't be because hey, I didn't choose my name. But that would probably be the only reason why. Or what was that other television show? It was probably Mari a long time ago where this woman gave her baby. It was the longest. It was one of those Guinness Book World Record names. I kid you not. Like it was like from here to 5, 6 different, and that was just like her first name. I forgot. Like it was LaQuisha, it was a whole bunch of names listed like together. And so those would be like the only reasons why I would say like not to. I do know that some people can discriminate, but sometimes at the forefront, that discrimination was probably saving you from some headache, from some stress, that is not good because I've gone through that, particular stuff myself. I kind of would rather, you have some people, I'm from originally, from Oklahoma. And so in Oklahoma, people are a little bit more upfront with their racism, so
yeah.
And so, and so
Oklahoma, I've experienced that.
And it's don't like that, but then up here up in DC, it's like it's real subtle, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like, okay, do I want to know who my enemies are, so to speak, or do I want somebody that's going to quote unquote hug me while stabbing me in the back at the same time? And so I kind of, it's like, if you don't like me, then just tell me you don't like me and stop trying to, you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, well then I'm not going to continue to try to push and waste my energy towards this particular employer just because my name is Bonquisha.
I know that's right.
Because with that, like, and that's the thing that I don't like. It's so many different things. With culture, EJ, it's like a lot of times, like we've lost like the meanings behind these particular like names and things like that was associated with it. You have queens and kings that had some of the quote unquote difficult names to be able to pronounce, but difficult to who?
Exactly. I love what you say that, and I don't want us, but we had this conversation at work where, one of my coworkers is Nigerian, and when her name came down and I pronounced her name and somebody said, "Oh, yeah, you will know how to pronounce it." And I said, "Excuse me? What that's supposed to mean?" She said, "Oh, because you're from Africa." I said, "No, no, no, no. That has nothing to do with it. It's phonetic. Her name
Yeah.
is 2 syllables. Put it together and we'll be fine. It has nothing to do with where I'm from. All it is phonics. You need to know the phonics. It's 2 syllables and put it together."
Yeah.
But
You just from the whole entire continent of Africa, huh?
yeah, are you kidding me? And so that's what I think. I think with the whole name thing, people forget to realize that your name, there are meanings behind your name.
Mm-hmm.
There are
And
names
there's beauty in your name.
there are names that people are willing to learn and say, but why you can't learn to say my name?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have to make sure that we're not buying into the negative connotation that's associated with Black and Africanness, so to speak. And we give them the upper hand when we when we go ahead and let me go ahead and initiate this or whatever. Let me provide a different name. It's like if that's your name, that's your name.
Nobody's doing that. But anyway, for people who are just getting out of high school, or getting out of high school, want to go into the workforce, or leaving college and want to go into the workforce, how do people choose a career? Because I don't think people understand. Your major in college, for those who graduate from college, might not per se be your career path.
Mm-hmm.
So how do people distinguish between my career path and me just finding a job?
I would say you have to ask questions. A lot of times what I tell people to do is to have to have other interviews with particular positions that you think that you might be interested in. Just because I call them informational interviews. And the informational interview isn't something where I'm trying to particularly get a job, but no, I'm asking, I'm going to go find someone, maybe possibly in my circle that has a particular position or title that I might be interested in, or they work in that particular field. And so you need to make sure that you're asking questions, seeing what lifestyle does this help them to be able to afford, not asking them for the particular how much money that they make, but asking, hey, what are the different type of projects, that you get to work on, and asking them, like, what type of personality do you have? Like, how did you get to this particular position? And so come to them with a certain set of questions. That's one way for them to go ahead and to choose. Another way for you to choose is to make sure that you are I know people ain't gonna like this word, but it's called volunteering.
Yeah.
And so if you volunteer somewhere, that is how you're going to get more experience to see, hey, do I like this or do I not? Not only the experience, but you also get exposure, because you never know. One of my my coaches, she says, you never know who has the power to bless you. And so with you just volunteering on a position, you're not necessarily getting any money for it, so to speak, but you're gaining some valuable experience. You're getting other people, you're getting in rooms with other people, working with other people that has the power to go ahead and to bless you. And so and maybe they don't necessarily have a position there, but people network all the time. And so someone's like, hey, and they might hit you back up like, such and such over there had a position, and your name could be one of the first ones on because of what it is that you did on this particular job. And so that's how people get to seeing about what it is that they really want, the career that they truly want to do.
And you say that, and I'm a testimony to that. I volunteered in college at a certain hospital in Baltimore, and that was my first job. But I worked there for 6 months and realized volunteering was when I volunteered, it was great. But when I started working there, I believe that was not my culture. It was not the environment that I needed to be in order for me to grow. Volunteering there provided me with the experience, provided me with the resources, just the opportunity to see the different side of healthcare when it comes to public health. But that was not the environment I was supposed to be in, and then I just learned where I needed to go. But that was my first job right out of college. for
Mm-hmm.
and then I moved on to something else. And so I think volunteering is great. People who don't like to volunteer, I tell you, it's amazing because you meet
It
people.
saves you from a headache. Like, to
And trust
figure out, like, I mean, you might not, it's like somebody just jumping from hey, somebody said that this person is fine, so I'm about to go ahead and get with them. It's just like, let's go ahead, let's date
me,
first, let me
yeah,
see,
let's take a little bit. Let me
and
get
then
to
you go ahead and you get married, and that's not, you know what I'm saying, and that's not what it is. It's like, no, you have to take your time to get to know that particular employer, to get to know that particular like position, to see, does this fit who it is that you are.
So I know you're really focused on career alignment. And
Mhm.
so I just want to see if you have any advice for our young watchers who are leaving high school and going into college and trying to be a lawyer, a doctor, or engineer, and to forget about everything else because the only thing about it is the money. Any advice for them who are coming out of high school? How they should prepare themselves?
Bless their hearts, bless your hearts. Um, First, I'm gonna say this. Thanks for that question. But what I'm gonna say is that I wish that society would stop drilling just STEM into our young people's heads. You know, there's so much more to offer than that. You know, it's great. Yes, it's great money.
Mhm.
But that's not necessarily for you. You know, for instance, I thought that when I was in high school, one of the things that I kept on hearing that was drilling into our heads was, hey, there's a shortage in nursing. And if you get nursing, then you're going to be set, you know? And it's just like, you're already a caring individual. It's just like, yeah,
Yeah,
but just because you're a caring individual doesn't mean that that particular field is for you. And so we do that. And I feel like the older generation sets them up for failure, so to speak. So one thing that I'll say, that they need to do is they have to take the responsibility, that this is my life, and I'm going to do something that is fulfilling to me, whether or not I have the support of my friends, or whether or not I have the support of mainstream or social media, or even my parents.
yeah.
Because I know a lot of times the parents will go ahead and they're going to be the ones like, no, you have to go ahead and you have to be this engineer, or you have to be this doctor, or you have to be, you know, those particular things. I would say that they need to make sure that they are paying attention to those I'm telling you, those natural gifts is very, very important. And so they have to make sure that what it is that they're doing, um what are the particular jobs that highlight, that allows me to actually use the gifts that I have. Because if you're not using those, it's like a cry out like for help. You kind of can feel like you're drowning,
Yeah.
so to speak, you know. And so just because you're making that money, and that's not it. It's like it's so exhausting when you're not using your natural ability. So I would say they need to take ownership of their own life, and they need to make sure that they're paying attention to some of those things that they were probably doing way back yonder as a kid that they was liking, but someone turned them away from it, or someone said, "Hey, you talk too much." And it's like, no, my talking, maybe I need to have boundaries around my talking, but my talking is actually a gift that God has blessed me with, and I need to make sure that I am using that gift to make sales, to make changes within the corporation, to lead change. Like, these are things that they have to make sure that they are actually like paying attention to, and that they can actually use those at a particular like position. So those would be the main two. And with that, like I said, go ahead and do the information or interviewing, and making sure that you're getting some type of exposure, by possibly like volunteering or asking to shadow someone.
Well, Miss Vannice McCoy of Vannice Consults, there has been an amazing 1 hour with you. This was a live show on The Conversation. I enjoy you. The ideas will flow. You gave us so much information for us to go back and read on. Again, for those who are trying to get a new career, those who are trying to, just align yourself in what is it that you want to be when you grow up, contact my girl, Vannice Consults on Instagram. She will be at your service. Her videos are amazing. I want to say thank you again so much for honoring the invitation, for being here. It was a pleasure. And of course, you were on The Conversation, girl. Outspoken and opinionated. That's what it was. I want to say thank you.
Thank you so much, EJ. I enjoyed. Thank you so much for extending the invitation. I enjoyed being here for you.
Okay. And guys, you all have an amazing week, and we'll see you next week, Thursday.
Yes.